In this video, we're going to talk about hormonal health and weight loss. Now, maybe you didn't know that hormonal health and weight loss were connected, or maybe you've been struggling with both. We're going to give you several strategies and tips to support you in achieving hormonal health and weight loss in this video coming up. My name is Dr. Lisa Lewis. I'm a naturopathic doctor and I'm an acupuncturist, a wellness expert, and so many people come to me with hormonal health challenges or weight loss challenges. I think most are coming with both. The challenges that people say, I've changed my diet, I've taken out everything I can possibly take out, I don't eat any more wheat, no dairy, I eat vegetables all the time, I'm exercising like crazy, and I'm still gaining weight. Or they've done so amazing on their weight loss journey, and then all of a sudden they get to a certain weight and it stops, their weight loss stops, they plateau. Now, the big challenge is that there's a huge connection between hormonal health and weight loss. Now, the challenge is that, number one, most people don't recognize the two are connected. Most people think that they can just work out their way, through weight loss, or they can starve themselves or change their diet through weight loss. But if your hormones are out of balance, it's going to be very difficult to lose weight. There's so many hormones that are connected to how your body is able to either lose weight or maintain a healthy weight. Let's talk about thyroid. Now, one of the big challenges is that thyroid, it needs a lot of minerals and nutrients, and it's really significantly affected by the environment. So if you have heavy metal challenges like lead, mercury, you've been exposed to a lot of pesticides, you're deficient in zinc or iodine, there's so many different ways, even your stress hormones will affect your thyroid. Now, we're going to talk about thyroid in detail in another video in this series. But just know that hypothyroidism, which is underactive thyroid, could be a significant reason why you may be challenged with weight. And that hormone imbalance of the thyroid being either underactive or moderately underactive, what we call subclinical hypothyroidism, whereas when you test for thyroid, your thyroid results actually come back normal. Okay, so you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, all your numbers, your labs are normal. That could be a subclinical hypothyroidism. And so many times thyroid challenges, especially hypothyroidism, is either misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed. So know that if you're struggling with weight, thyroid, especially hypothyroidism, can be a huge challenge. It's important to make sure that you test effectively for your thyroid. So let's talk about cortisol, and that's your stress hormone. Now, if you live a moderately stressful life or you've had stress over time, you can expect that your cortisol will probably be out of balance. And as a matter of fact, if your cortisol is out of balance, then it's a guarantee almost that your thyroid hormones will be out of balance. So it will usually show up as, an accumulation of fat around the belly. And it can also contribute to like insulin resistance, where you have either pre-diabetes or diabetes, or it's just a challenge with metabolizing and breaking down carbohydrates. And if you really are stressed out, you probably are doing some stress eating, which means that you're craving carbs as well. So if you exercise too intensely, that can be another stressor. So that can also send your cortisol numbers through the roof. And if you've been stressed out for a long time, which we call chronic stress, then that will actually cause something what we call adrenal fatigue. And they have several stages of adrenal fatigue. I talk about weight gain and cortisol in another video. So I hope that you watch that video, because we'll go into a lot of detail about specifically how cortisol regulates and creates excess weight, especially around the midsection. But no, cortisol is another hugely important hormone for weight loss. Now, leptin is what we call the hunger hormone, and it's released from fat tissue, what we call adipose tissue. It's controlled by the brain, the hypothalamus, and the more fat tissue you have, the more leptin that your body produces. Now, if you have too much leptin, your body will just keep signaling you to eat and to eat and to eat, which is why they call it, one of the reasons why they call it the hunger hormone. So for people who have an excess accumulation of fat, their body will just keep producing more and more leptin, and then that leptin will then tell them, keep eating, keep eating. And so sometimes you might think, well, I'm full, but why am I eating? Or I know I'm not hungry, but I'm eating. It could be the leptin. And again, because that's a really important hormone for weight gain, you really want to assess whether or not your leptin is out of balance as well. So insulin, another important hormone that is responsible for regulating your blood sugar. So if, again, your insulin levels are high or triggered by, say, a high carbohydrate, high sugar meal, then you're going to continue to have spikes of insulin. It's going to go up and go down. Now, you've had blood sugar dysregulation. Now, that's similar to what most people would consider if they had, say, they're pre-diabetic or diabetic. Their bodies are having a hard time either releasing insulin or they have insulin resistance, what they consider insulin resistance. And so their body's not able to manage carbohydrates effectively. Now, the important thing about insulin and weight gain is that insulin actually is a fat storing hormone. So it causes your body to hold, and even if we're almost starving, it will still cause you to hold fat. So it's really important to make sure that your blood sugar is balanced, that your insulin levels are balanced, and maintaining a healthy carbohydrate, fat, and protein balance in your meals will make sure that you don't store too much carbohydrate in the form of fat into your body. So making sure your insulin is balanced is exceptionally important for hormonal health. Now, the last set of hormones are exceptionally important as well to hormone balance and weight gain. And those are the reproductive hormones: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And primarily estrogen, because again, estrogen is another one of those fat storing hormones. And if the estrogen is out of balance, meaning either you have too much estrogen, may not have enough progesterone, because estrogen and progesterone actually balance one another. So if you don't have enough progesterone to balance out the estrogen, then it actually creates an estrogen dominance, or vice versa as well with testosterone. So if you end up with an estrogen dominance, then that will cause weight gain, regardless as to, again, what your diet looks like and how much you exercise. Now, we're exposed to a ton of xenoestrogens or estrogenic substances, like in plastics. If you store things in plastics that aren't BPA free, we call these xenoestrogens. They'll leach into your food, leach into your water, and those estrogens will get stored into your body. Pesticides, herbicides, all of those are what we call hormone disruptors, and they will cause an increased level of estrogen. If your liver is not imbalance, because most of the liver is where most of your estrogen and all your hormones are broken down, actually secreted and produced in your liver. But if your liver is congested and it's not really breaking down those hormones the way it needs to, then your body will store excess estrogen. And again, when you store estrogen, you're going to store it around the belly, you're going to store it around the hips, you're going to store it in the thighs. Now, especially during menopause, there's so much more storage happening in the belly, whereas maybe the thighs and the hips, you might be losing a little weight in your hips and your thighs, but your belly will start to increase because you're kind of stealing some of the carbohydrates. It's breaking down the proteins from your buttocks and from your thighs and redepositing it, unfortunately, redepositing it on your belly. So if your hormones are out of balance, your estrogen, your progesterone, and testosterone are out of balance, it will then contribute to hormonal weight gain. All of these things can contribute to weight gain. So if you are running on that treadmill, exercising like crazy, eating very little, practically starving yourself, or at least eating an amazing diet, and you're still gaining weight, or at least you can't lose weight, I encourage you to look at your hormones and get tested to understand what hormones are out of balance so that you can achieve your weight loss goals a lot faster. I have a nice gift for you, a free gift in the description of information of how to balance your hormones. So I encourage you to download that and subscribe, because we're going to have tons more videos about hormonal health coming in the future. So thank you so much. I look forward to being able to support you in balancing your hormones and with losing weight easily, more efficiently. And I'll see you in the next video.